higher than planes in Malaysia, can't fly us.
Mr. Deity, where you been? In my corner of the ring, fighting life, trying not to get counted out or throw in the towel. On the ropes, I'ma lean till my vision see clean, blood in my eye. This world is a bad dream. As long as money's king, I feel funny in my being. You can see it when I walk and you hear my shackles cling. IMAX, bigger picture, niggas still don't see a thing. It's 2014, still flag torching. Fucking inflation make it hard to cop groceries, so don't be surprised if someone running with that sorcery. Levitate your wallet, give me the loot. Chris Wallace, capitalizing, democracy at its rawest. Sucker, you the trees, I'm the forest, I'm the earth, you a Taurus, I'm Black Jesus, you don't know who a Saw is. Hannibal Victorious, every bar is a battalion. Spirit of a panther with the Kevlar medallions. Politics, money, religion, they divide us. Let's bring it back together with some K's right beside us. Stars shine bright, sucker, how you gon' hide us? Higher than planes in Malaysia, can't fly us. Politics, money, religion, they divide us. Let's bring it back together with some K's right beside us. Stars shine bright, sucker, how you gon' hide us? Higher than planes in Malaysia, can't fly us. They still got our children pledging allegiance to flags that spill red and blue blood to white out history we had. No Django 8 years ago, took my chains off. Bore Mansour, Hotep, and took James off. 80% of prisons overpopulated with colored brothers. 30% of our children aborted by mothers. Most of the gun violence is a brother on another. Most of the work on the street, we sell to one another. What's the equation to these mathematics? When you control the minds and the economy, multiply the madness. The ghetto's an experiment created by your masters. We tried to change that shit, but they killed all the Panthers. Fred Hampton, bullet holes in a bloody mattress. This Liberation Patriot Act, terrorist action, sponsored by your local revolutionary rapper. I voted for assassination, you can cast my ballot. Politics, money, religion, they divide us. Let's bring it back together with some K's right beside us. Stars shine bright, sucker, how you gon' hide us? Higher than planes in Malaysia, can't fly us. Politics, money, religion, they divide us. Let's bring it back together with some K's right beside us. Stars shine bright, sucker, how you gon' hide us? Higher than planes in Malaysia, can't fly us. Politics, money, religion, they divide us. Let's bring it back together with some K's right beside us. Stars shine bright, sucker, how you gon' hide us? Higher than planes in Malaysia, can't fly us. Politics, money, religion, they divide us. Let's bring it back together with some K's right beside us. Stars shine bright, sucker, how you gon' hide us? Higher than planes in Malaysia, can't fly us. They divide us. K's right beside us. How you gon' hide us? Higher than planes in Malaysia, can't fly us. They divide us. K's right beside us. How you gon' hide us? Higher than planes in Malaysia, can't fly us.
myth, interpreted as it was later on in history, led to profound conceptions of the woman as inferior, and sometimes in some civilizations as essential women. But the most important goddesses were black, not just for the African now, in the civilization of the Greek. The Greek was so profoundly affected by the Africans that the goddess of chastity was a black woman, Artemis. The goddess of wisdom was a black woman, Minerva. The goddess of beauty was a black woman, Diana. And many of their great mythological figures which were critical to the vision of history, the history of the Greeks in the Odyssey. The woman who draws, who has the power to draw Odysseus and all his crew into her, is Circe, who is represented as a black woman with African features on the Greek vases. The woman who helps Jason win the golden fleece is a black woman, Medea. The woman who marries Perseus, the Greek hero, is a
It can be on the record, off the record. It can be on the record. I heard Bob Johnson said he's talking to the higher powers, I guess the government, about our reparations. And I guess the numbers that they come up with were about 3. His name is Saul here in Ngozi, Northern Light Shopping Center. You want more than just a nice cut? Good conversation, good vibe, good music. Come see me at 3512 Cleveland.
Hello. All right. Let's give a huge round of applause for our beautiful, amazing jazz musicians. So that was so amazing. And I want to remind you guys again to make sure that you go inside, shop, make sure that you support. We have, in a minute, we're going to have two of our vendors, one named Simba and one named Urban Gems, to come up and speak about who they are and what they're here to do. So, yeah.
It looks so cold and refreshing. Right on the edge, breathing
Peace, family. This is Brother Hatem coming at you live. I want to thank you for taking a 21-day Nguzo Saba challenge. If you have this video, you have taken the challenge, and I thank you. I want you to understand that this whole thing is about making you uncomfortable, right? Why, Brother Hatem? Why do you want people to be uncomfortable? Because we have become used and have become comfortable with being humiliated. We have become used to being in bad relationships. We have become used to being in bad money situations. We have become used to taking the scraps off of everybody else's table. And it's time for us to become uncomfortable. So some of the small steps that I have for you in the Nguzo Saba challenge is to push you into the state of uncomfortableness so that you can feel what it feels like. Listen, cold shower, uncomfortable. A warrior diet, uncomfortable. Getting up an extra hour early so that you can keep up with what's going on with the Nguzo Saba challenge, uncomfortable. I am forcing you out the comfort zone because in the comfort zone rests failure. In the comfort zones lies mediocrity. It's time for us as a group, as a tribe, as a family to start getting out of our comfort zone. All right, so what I'm going to share with you today is the 21-day Nguzo Saba challenge journal. All right, I'm going to show you how to use it, and we're going to make it real quick. Right, because I got a nice little write-up for those of you that won't take the time to see the video. You just want to jump in it. I would suggest that you take about 7 days to think about whether or not you're going to continue with the challenge. But I want you to do the reading. I want you to start reading up on some of the materials and reading up on some of the health benefits, some of the mental benefits, some of the physical benefits, some of the emotional benefits. I want you to do some research. Right? But most importantly, I want you to be uncomfortable. I want you to get in that state. I want you to get in that state so that we can move to a whole nother level together. Right? I want you to realize that you are not in this alone. You'll receive a link so that you can join our private group on Facebook so that you know you have a support group. Yeah, I get a ding every time you get on there so that I know that if you need to talk with me, you can. I'm making myself available, and other people in Gye-Nyame is going to make themselves available to help you. So at this point in time, if you need a coach, I'll be the coach. If you need a big brother, I'll be the big brother. If you need a friend or somebody to talk to, I'll be that for you as well. But push through the challenge. Push through. All right. So stay tuned.
Verbal delegation. In that society, Dr. Brown, Mr. Deity. Politics, money, religion, they divide us. Let's bring it back together with some K's.
Man, I don't display my blinky, my head's not kinky, it's kingly. So when you see me, best bow. Innovative style, direct from Jersey, but of the will be foul. So all my brethren say power, and honey say I. What's all about 7 miles, no smiles, so don't infiltrate. The black might state at any rate. I'm more than great, let's just say I'm godly. 3 dimensions, mind, soul, and body. I speaks it all modestly, so y'all diesel follow me, come follow me. It's the blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, what? The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, come bring it. The blink, distinct, the funk, baby, what? Keep the phantom style, black man's profile, seeping in you.
fault. Motion. Kushagli. Ujima. Ujama. Nia. Kuumba. Imani. Now you want to try to roll your shoulders back? Get your chest out? Just do the best you can, girl. Then hop up. Right leg forward. My fault. Keep the right leg forward. Stretch. With your mouth shut. Y'all ain't tired yet, so I need to work you out some more. Back. Left leg forward. Stretch. Back. Ankle forward. Hop forward. Mirror feet is at Peace, family. This is Brother Hot Tim coming at you live and direct on Gye-Nyame Journey. The noise you hear in the background is the steamer because, you know, I do a lot of steaming. I talk about keeping the food culturally, keeping culturally appropriate. So, you know, I use the steamer a lot. But one of the things I'm here to talk to you about today is Africanizing your coffee, making Gye-Nyame coffee, right? Now, I call it Gye-Nyame coffee. Why? Because I can. Coochie Jagalia, shit. Self-determination. I determined that this Africanized coffee is my coffee. And this is Gye-Nyame's coffee. What's mine is Gye-Nyame's. That's my family. That's my tribe. So I have to represent. So here you go, family, real quick. In order to make this, you're going to need you some ground coffee. I went and got some Allegro coffee from Whole Foods. This is light roast, but you get your coffee, you know what I'm saying? I would suggest not that instant shit. Go and grind your coffee. Or if you even got a grind at your house, you cool. You're going to need some baobab powder. Because that's in my article, right? That baobab powder. This is the brand that I use. You click the link, it'll take you right there. You're going to need some coconut oil. Like that. You see it? Straight from Africa. Alright? Just like the baobab powder. You know, we're going to get our link for that and we'll be able to handle that. And of course, you're going to need a French press. I'm going to show you how to use this French press in a second. Alright? Because that's probably one of the questions that some of you have. Okay, so we're going to use this French press. I like using the French press because it gives me a better quality of coffee without all the machinery, and it's very simple to use, easy to use, and you get the most flavor. I mean, I get some flavorful coffee because I like my coffee thick and black, like myself. I have a water boiler here, you know what I'm saying, simple water boiler, and we are going to get started in the process. But there's one ingredient missing. Hold on. You can't have the Africanized coffee. You can't have the Gye-Nyame coffee without that ambrosia. Now, you don't necessarily have to have that ambrosia, but you can use this. Now, I'm using, this one is a little bit older, but I was thinking about using an older one because it has a stronger acidity, a stronger vinegar type cut. Not a lot of it, but just enough, right? All right, so let's get started. All right, first up in the process is we want to get our water started, right? So we're going to get our water started in this. All right, while we're waiting for the water to boil, I'm going to show you how to set up your French press. Now, okay, you know I do things a little bit differently, and I got to bend all the way down, you know. I could change the angle, but I don't want to do that. I want y'all to catch the reel. So, we got the French press, which is composed of several different pieces. You see the screen in there, which helps keep the coffee from spreading into the water, and this is how you separate it. The pressure of, once you put this in, you allow it to brew, then you push it down. That screen in there will catch all of the extra coffee and push it down below, allowing the coffee to come up. But you got to let that sit for a couple of minutes. So I'm gonna do this. I only got a little bit left. I like my coffee black, right? So here we go. I don't even need the spoon. I'm just gonna pour it in here, cover up the bottom, give me a nice amount. This is one of the reasons I got one of those boilers, because if you listen in the back, just like my steamer, it heats up the water fast. I put that amount of coffee in there. You know, for some of y'all that might be too much, for others it might not be enough. Throw a little bit more in there. Back up, please. Alright, so we got that in there. We're going to let the water come to a boil. I ain't need to put that on there yet. I'm excited. Alright, so let's move to the next step, okay? The next step of the process, if you have time. Now you can stir it with your hand, but to really get the nice smoothness and get everything together and broken down, you're going to need to use a blender. So I'm going to use a blender, right? So what I'm going to do is prepare what needs to go in the blender. What's going to go in the blender is the baobab powder, the coconut oil, and a little bit of ambrosia. So let's do each one at a time. Here we go. Hold on. So we're going to start with that premium coconut oil. Now, for those of you that's trying to lose weight, one of the reasons I use this is because the body likes fats. And one of the foods that has a lot of fats is vegetable oils. I know some of y'all swear oils off, but I like the oils, right? I love the oils. So I'm going to pour a little bit of this in here. I don't do the measurements. Y'all going to measure, depending on your taste, how much you want in there, right? Because you taste a coconut flavor. Now, I imagine that I could actually use some actual coconut or even some coconut milk, but I like the oil. Then also we're going to take some of this powder. And one of the reasons I like blending it is because this powder will clump up. It finds its own kind, and it likes to clump up. And, you know, I want to break that down so that we can get us a nice smoothness. Now, this right here, if you read my article, it talks about a lot of benefits. Now, one of the reasons that you can put this in the coffee and let it do that, but I like the fiber aspect of this, right? And it's a prebiotic, so I'm trying to get a lot of those fibers into my diet, or a lot of fiber to feed my microbiome. Now, the microbiome, those that's been following Gye-Nyame journey, y'all know that I love talking about that microbiome, right? Because that is one of the key pieces to health that a lot of people are missing, all right? Now, so I'm going to take a little bit of the ambrosia, throw it in there. All right, I think I'm going to put some old ambrosia in here too, just to level it off. Hold on. All right, right here what we have is some old ambrosia. As you can see, still got dust on the bottom. It has a nice vinegar taste. Got a little acid. I know some of y'all swear off acid and all that. Okay, that's on you. I'll take all the acid that you don't use. So we're gonna allow this to wait for the coffee. And the thing I like about this is that this water boiler, it don't be messing around. So I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna pour the water into here. Oh, you see that? Boom. We're going to allow that to sit. And to kind of seal it off so it can do its thing, actually, let's do a little gentle stir. Do a little gentle stir. Use a nice little fork. Get down there. Kind of mix it up. You know, they say use plastic. What the hell? Gye-Nyame journey. We define the world for ourselves, right? So we getting busy. All right. Ooh. Nice strong coffee. All right. So now on this right here, you have right here. See that where you pour? That has helped strain as well. But I don't want that showing when I'm putting it in here because I want it to kind of just sit up there and sit with itself. And we will be back in a couple of minutes right? We're gonna allow a lot of coffee to do its thing because I'm saying about 5 to 7 minutes, and we will be right back. Oh, okay, I dozed off. I'm thinking it's ready. It's still kind of hot, but we can take it and you can press it down. That's why they call it the French press. I did about 5 to 10 minutes. Let it get nice and black. Look how black that is. Look at that. Look at that. You can't see through that shit. Man, I like my coffee black. No cream, no sugar, right? So one of the things I like, oh, hold on. I got to turn it around to the hose where you pour. Make it easier. Easier to pour. Y'all see how different the pour is? You see how the grounds are stuck at the bottom? Now, see why I like that? You know, you throw them grounds away. I know some of y'all like to use those grounds, but they've been pressed out. You know what I'm saying? We don't press everything out of them we can get. So you get a nice little thing that look like this. You're going to take it. The oil is already melting and coming to the top. And what we're going to do, we're going to move to the blender. Here we go. All right. Do that. Something I forgot. I need the top to the blender or something. It's real life here at Gye-Nyame Journey, so I can't keep the top of a blender. My kids be doing experiments and doing their own shows. So here we go. Now, of course, you know this don't take that long, but because I'm doing it for y'all, it's gonna take taking a little bit longer. But I want y'all to see the consistency. Give me a second. All right, so we got it nice and blended up. I just want you to see. You usually don't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee from a glass. I got my favorite cup, and that's the only thing I'm missing. But I want you to see how that looks. You see that? That's one of my ambrosia tasting glasses. Let's go and sample this here. Hot damn. Now, it's not sweet, but you can taste the coconut oil in it. And you definitely can taste the baobab plant or the baobab powder, fruit powder in here. And it gives it a sour, tangy type taste. But it's real good, and it's good for you. So I'm going to go and enjoy my coffee. Hopefully y'all got what y'all needed out of this. This is Brother Hot Tim on Gye-Nyame Journey saying peace. Peace, this is Brother Hot Tim, and it is cold as hell. And when I say hell, I mean hell, because I am one to believe that hell is actually cold. And given a choice between dying by fire or dying by ice, I think I would jump in the fucking fire. I'm just being honest, excuse my language. But you are worthy. Now, I changed the title of the show. I'm going to start keeping track of the level, and we want to know where we're going. But this one came upon me this morning while I was running, because I got up and I started running, and let me tell you how cold it was. I started running. Well, first off, let me explain this. When I woke up this morning, it was 8 degrees below zero. And my mind started looking for every excuse not to get up. I didn't have to do the show, blah, 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 blah. But then I thought about it. If I was able to get up in this cold weather, do my meditation, of course, inside, then get up and run by my choice. Not because I had to, because I wanted to, because I desired to do it, because I desired to make the change. If I was to take that one small step, it was a pain. Please, this is Brother Tim again. I want to apologize, so I'm going to have to make this quick, because I'm outside and walking my dog. I don't know what happened, but what I was saying was, hopefully Hopefully y'all got that last part, but I figured that if I get up and do what I wanted to do, I want to help people make changes in their lives. I want to make change in my life. I want to make a difference. If I get up and do this one small step, this painful small step, and get out here and run, and then get up and do a show, then I will be setting a perfect example. I will be becoming the change that I want to see, and hopefully will motivate more people. Plus, it will be good for me. So I got up and I did it and I ran. And now I'm out here right now walking my dog. So let me finish with this small step. It's important that we start breaking up our goals into very small steps. Usually what happens is we set goals. We, at the beginning of the new year, on New Year's Eve, we make these big promises, or during birthdays, we make these big promises to ourselves about changes that we're going to make. But these changes are so big that they become overwhelming. So what we need to learn how to do is to start breaking it down in small steps. And let me give you an example from my life. When I'm a runner, and today while I was running, those of you that know in Ohio, it is one big sheet blanket. It's like the ice age is coming back. So I'm running in some 5-on-5 finger shoes, and I got to keep my balance. Now it's easier for me to keep my balance in those shoes, but I'm running on ice, or I got to run in the snow. So I prefer to run on the ice. So I'm running on the ice, and every time I try to extend my stride, every time I try to take a big step, I slip. Every time I try to take a big step, I slip. So I started shortening my steps. And as I start shortening my steps, I start finding out I start moving faster. I shortened my steps, and I was able to start running longer. Now, when I started shortening my steps, I started improving because I was able to focus a little bit more on the step. Now, and this is another thing I got while I was running. This was brought to my consciousness. I was running one day and I got real tired, and I told myself, just take one more step, one more small step. And by doing that, I was able to push myself to continue on my journey, to continue on my run by taking small steps. So when we start getting into setting our goals, we need to start setting up the small steps. We look at the big goal, the big overarching goal, but we set up small, achievable steps. I call them elements. We complete the elements of our journey. We go in someplace, we know where we want to go, but we know we got a whole bunch of points in between that we got to go through to get there. So let's go and respect those points. Let's get the focus on those points that they need, those elements that they need. And then also with each accomplishment of each element is a victory. And victory is addictive. Victory is fun. Victory is something that we like because we get to celebrate it. So what I'm saying is, when you set up these small steps, you set up small victories and get to celebrate those victories, and it makes it better and it makes it funner to achieve your goal. This is Brother Hatim. Give yourself permission to make small steps. This is show 6, and I'll see you in the morning. With that, I say peace, and I pray that your day is as beautiful. Peace, family. Great to see you, man. I'm glad you came back for day 2. Now get ready. Listen, family. I am a storyteller. And the thing that really captured me when I really got back into our culture, when I really started studying our culture, was the role of the storyteller and the role of the story, right? The importance of the story. Now, we often in these times overlook the power of stories, right? You know what I'm saying? We relegate it to children. Like, we do a lot of other stuff that's very important. We're going to get into some of that later on in some of these videos and in our future discussions, right? We regulate a lot of these things that our ancestors left for us to our children, right? So we have lost, in a sense, in our community, in many ways, the true art of storytelling. Now, we got to understand that the story played a central role in building and holding the culture together. Now, we come into European societies and they constantly throw up old stories at us, but I have to ask you a question, family. Were our ancestors stuck on old stories? If new situations arise, would they try to apply the story to a new situation, even though the story didn't fit? We got to understand that the story was deeper than just telling children things so that they can go to sleep. What the story did, the story gave you clues and ideas on how to solve problems, and it also recorded events so that we would have them in our collective memory so that we could overcome obstacles. So when new situations come, new heroes come. Speaking of heroes, let's get into that real quick. So the title of this segment, because I'm jumping so fast, family, I'm so excited. You know what I'm saying? I'm so excited to be able to have an opportunity to talk with you. Please understand and please bear with me. The Lost Art of Storytelling is the title of the section. The subtitle is Folk Tales for Grown Folk. Alright, I have a reason for that. And in order for us to understand the story, we first got to understand a process that was eliminated when we came to these shores. In all of our cultures throughout history, one of the things that you find that is common is a rites of passage process. So I got to get into this, family, because this is something that we're missing, and this is what I discovered in the last video with the player's pyramid, because the player's pyramid gave me a process. And what a rites of passage is a process from one phase of life to another phase of life. But once again, one of the things we did when we started dealing with rites of passage in America, through these Western lenses that we're wearing, we started regulating rites of passage to the children. Family, let me tell you something. Our people were generational people. What I mean by that is we understand that we're constantly going through cycles and we always return. So rites of passage brought you from childhood to teenager, from teenager to adult, from adult to an older adult, and a wiser adult, and from a wiser adult to a full-fledged elder. And the last step of the rites of passage was taking you into the ancestor realm. Your last initiation was the ultimate death. But according to our people, that didn't mean nothing, and we're gonna cover that in this course too, family. I'm not playing with you. I got it. I got the information for you. Listen to me. So now, getting back to the story, the lost art of storytelling. So the story usually illustrates a hero, or it has a lesson in it for the individual, but you just got to know how to get in there and get it. And this is what we're gonna do with you, through Gye-Nyame, because I like to make my people, we call it Gye-Nyame, being symbol literate. Right? A story is a big symbol, and you have to be able to have like Sherlock Holmes had a little magnifying glass, and be able to go through it and find the message for you. Another term that we use in Gye-Nyame journey is crystallized wisdom.
We believe that our ancestors left us crystallized wisdom in different forms. Story is one of them. Story is a major one of them. And left us the tool. They didn't just leave us old stories so we could stay stuck on old stories. They left us examples of old stories so that we could start developing the stories that we need to get out the situation we in right now. Our ancestors wrote and told their way out of the situations that they were in. We're in a situation. We need to reawaken the storyteller within each and every last one of us. Right? So, going back to the rites of passage piece. Listen. In rites of passage, which is basically the community taking you through that culture's story. It's so simple and it's so deep that it's just mind-boggling. I want you to think about it. The culture, your people take you through your cultural story. You become the hero. You receive the call. That's the first step of a story, and that's also the first step of rites of passage. Whether it's a call through age or a call through situations, you are called. The hero in the story is called on an adventure. You can either go willingly, which is called being a willing hero, or you could go reluctantly. That's called being a reluctant hero. Now, the example of a reluctant hero is in the Bible. They talk about Jonah. Jonah was a hero that said, I'm not going where you want me to go. So because he refused, he became a reluctant hero and ended up having to be in that place. See, because what the stories tell us is, family, you can't fight your destiny. You were born for a certain reason, and you have to fulfill that reason. Every last one of us, and we're going to get into this when we start talking about libations, right? Listen, and that's later on. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited. So the first step is the call. You receive the call. In the second part of the story, right? Or the second part of rites of passage, you are separated from everything you know. So in the art of storytelling, there's a call, and then there's a separation of the hero or the group, or you know what I'm saying, or the animal, depending on there's a separation. You move into another world. In that world, you are initiated. That's the third phase, right? You're initiated, and you're turned into something different. You die and are resurrected. Now, this is all symbolic, family, right? It's symbolic. And I could go through from Avengers Endgame all the way back to almost any movie you want to talk about, because I'm gonna get into let me finish. I'm so listen. The initiation, which is where you receive the secrets. In the story, the hero gains something, gains a knowledge to overcome a personal problem, or to overcome the villain within the story. You know what I'm saying? Rites of passage, this is where you are proven worthy to receive the secrets of the culture and receive the responsibility of maintaining that culture. Last but not least, reintroduction, where you come back and you bring back the gifts that you received in this other realm back to your community. You defeat the villain, and you go home. The cycle starts all over again. You receive another call, you go on another adventure. That is the basics of storytelling, right? And in every story, you could find that pattern or a pattern very similar. That if you learn how to use it, you can go in and do what we call wisdom mining on any story and get the lesson that's in it for you. Let me tell you how cold our people are. Family, in our stories are layered. What do you mean, Brother Hatim? Layered means that when you listen to our stories, and when we start telling stories, and when we become good at stories, we layer the stories. Where the story, when you hear it as a child, you hear it as a child. You understand it as a child. But as you get older, you listen to the story again, or you read the story again, and you experience it in a different way. You remember what you heard as a child, but you hear more when you're a little bit older. And when you become an adult and you hear the story, you remember the first two levels you heard it at, but then you start getting deeper insights from the story than you heard before. Our stories and our wisdom is layered so you can get it on the level that you're at, realizing there's always another level that you have to go to. Stories take us within ourselves so that we can start really evaluating what's going on with us. These stories were told and taught so that we wouldn't have to bump our heads as a group, as a culture, even as an individual. Because how many, we always talk about the hard knock life. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people that's always living a hard knock life. They got to bang their head before they get it. But there's some of us out here who just through listening to an individual story can get the message and avoid the head banging. You don't always have to hit your head in order to grow, in order to get someplace. You can listen to the lessons that are in stories and avoid the traps. Now, because I want you to think about this, how important stories were to culture. In the stories, the wisdom will be passed on from generation to generation. And let me stress this, every generation had a responsibility to add something to that reservoir of wisdom for those coming after them. The question we have to answer for ourselves is, have we been leaving anything in the story reservoir as far as our culture? Through the stories, a culture is able to evolve. Do you understand? A culture is a living, breathing idea, and it lives in the people, and it is spread through the stories, right? Like, you know, they talk about on the internet a meme. That's like a culture. A culture is like a meme. It's like a group meme that is passed from generation to generation, and it's passed. One of the ways that it's passed is through stories. So this is why I had to talk about the lost art of storytelling, and through the lost art of storytelling, what we have developed is a framework through which you can learn to look at stories and start extracting the wisdom. Do that, get out there and do that dirty work. You know what I'm saying? We call it that wisdom mining. In mining, you're looking for something precious, and you have to dig, you have to get dirty. So a lot of times in these stories, you got to dig, and you got to get through the dirt and the dust and the mud and what's ever down there, and dig until you find that precious jewel. And be able to recognize the jewel or the valuable substance, right? And we call it crystallized wisdom. And you're able to add that jewel to your life. How many stories have we been watching, have we been listening to, that we done missed the whole idea behind it, the whole message that's being echoed to us? How many stories have we relegated? We relegated to children that were really developed for us. Family, one of the reasons I started a show called Folk Tales for Grown Folks, right, is because after reading Aesop's Fables, I said he didn't write this for no children. He wrote this for adults. Children can listen, but he wrote the stories for adults because some of the lessons that come out of those stories are profound. And we're missing them because I'm an adult, I'm too big for stories, but yet you go to the movies. See, because I want you to understand how big of an industry storytelling is. Please, family, you got to. I want you to think about that. How much money do the movie industry make? How much money does the book industry make? How much money does the music industry make? And how much are we involved in all of those? And we are the original storytellers. The Europeans have taken the story and conquered the world. It's their stories that's being told. And what I'm saying is right now, it's time for us to awaken the storyteller back in us. Not only so that we could define stories and tell stories to our children, but start developing the stories that will help us get out of this madness that we are in right now. Many of our people are out there waiting for the right story to stimulate them. It's not the idea necessarily of just Jesus doing the things that Jesus did that move people. It's the story of Jesus. Stories move culture. And when we start understanding that, we will empower ourselves. Family. So I'm just so excited to, so what we have, like I said, we created a format through which you are able to go down and break down these stories. And I'm going to do a quick story for you. This story is called Where You See Shit, I See Fertilizer. And this is based on the true fact, right? Because, family, we got to start erecting these stories to get us up out of here. And before I get into the story, and I wanted to say this. There's a movie out right now called When They See Us. That's the story. There was a movie out called Birth of a Nation. And there's a lot of other stories that I have not went to go see. Because the issue that I have is that I know the endings of these stories. And these stories, rather than taking us into an infinite potential, an infinite spiral upward, I believe keep us caught in a tight circle. Don't get me wrong, the stories are important. And the movie, I understand, is changing lives. But sometimes, for me personally, I don't want to get caught in the loop. I didn't want to go see the Nat Turner story because I know how the Nat Turner story ends. Right? Unless they changed it a little bit. I didn't want to go see that story because I already know how it ends. And family, we need to start creating stories that catapult us into victory. For example, Spook Who Sat by the Door. If you haven't seen the movie or read the book, I want you to check that out. Right? Story that leaves a potential for victory. Alright, so here's the story. Where you see shit, I see fertilizer. Right? So, coming up under the elders that I came up with, I had an elder who would go to prisons and teach classes, and one day he assigned me to do it, and that one day turned into about a 2-year process. That's how we get down in my family, right? In my overall tribe. My Baba said, listen, I'm going to take you up here one time, and at one time ended up being a 2-year thing that I ended up doing, and it was my pleasure because I got to serve the community. I got to serve an aspect of the community that really deserved some work and really can prosper from what I was bringing. So anyway, I would have to do it. It would be like an hour 15 minute drive once a week. And I got a sleeping issue. Those that know me know I got a sleeping issue. So I have to pull over and rest. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I'm tired. It's just that if I'm doing the same thing over and over again,
Something tells me to kill him dead up in this piece. Angry frustrations I shall release, cause I'm about to let loose the beast. Ha! Hear ye, all you asshole MCs. It's time to throw a party for it's the doomsday. If your leader, Captain Ass Crack. If you want protection, play the rear. No man in this world I fear. My sound beats down for your protection. I advise you wear headgear. I spilled the beans on Bruce Wayne, known as Batman. Can't no crusader, just your average white man. Who me? I'm Black Man. More superhero than Letterman. I come equipped with joints like these to be the shit, removing the S to the back. And somehow I still make hits. Don't you look around, I leave you thinking like the space between an asshole and clitoris on a 50 homeless woman. No, ain't that some shit? You bite too many styles, that's not hard to believe. Your captain's Alibaba and you, one of the 40 thieves. Trying mocking, trying to reach my levels like peas when storm creates obese monstrous mechanisms like this. I've been around and seen a lot of MCs get wrecked from a lack of respect because there is no competition. I've been around and seen a lot of MCs get wrecked from a lack of respect because there is no competition. I've been around and seen a lot of MCs get wrecked from a lack of respect because there is no competition. There is no competition. Competition is none. God bless the child who sparks it off like the sun. Ha! You don't understand. I be black man, changing like a chameleon. I'm worth every bit of 6 million. MC rotisserie, they call me the colonel. From spirit, the sixth spice that brings about death, downfalls, and funerals. I do you stunt MCs like an evil with my evil. Ask my lord, he broke the mold and made me the unbeatable. I am the shepherd when rhyming, bringing silence to the lambs. Clarice, with father beans and a nice candy, crumbling kingdoms that have the rulers resort to ruling shanties. Bringing crews, send them in the twos. I'm Noah. In the ring, I do him Apollo Creed. Ivan drag off the Balboa, constricting rhymes around neck, stopping breath, foot on neck. He can't breathe. Pierre bring on tombstones and soft soil. Be all you can be. It ain't much. Ask any GI, I'm the builder, gets them caught up in the clutch. There's no survivors when they fuck around with the do-or-diver. Oh my God, Rizzo Rizankin is the live wire. I've been around and seen a lot of MCs get wrecked from a lack of respect because there is no competition. I've been around and seen a lot of MCs get wrecked from a lack of respect because of no competition. I've been around and seen a lot of MCs get wrecked from a lack of respect because there is no competition. There is no competition. Competition is none. God bless the child who sparks it off like the sun. I clash like the Titan, took him harder than the Kraken. Stole by the head of Medusa. Beat this maneuver. Styles of grains of challenges like the industrial Hoover. I get them open like butt cheeks on a porno freak. Have them screaming something terrible like sorority grease. I be the greatest killer of all time. These mustache getting bouts to leave him KO on couch longer than Rip Van Winkle. With a flash, furious tongue that clashes clay like Cassius Hinkle. I land on them seas like abandoned islands. Sending out SOS, some old shit you ain't heard before. Leave the fifth mark, you're soft as fur, man. I hit homers and run like OJ, spilling a Bronco on the highway. Boy, you lying MCs sure are dandy, so I cross-pollinate to make you daffy lying pussy. Wallowing in a field of crabgrass ass rappers. Tell them to run, oh my God. Here comes Kid Law.
Go tell your mama.
Yeah. Y'all already know who it is. It's Mr. Mythic.
Yeah, these niggas sick, man. Why did you lace a beat like this? Why did you lace a beat like this, for real? What was you thinking? I was thinking this.
And I get up, and they got some fruits and they got the stand is open. So I go up and I'm looking around, and an old white man look at me and say, "Hey, I see you be coming through here a lot." I explained, yeah, I got a sleeping issue. I fall asleep and stuff like that. And he looked at my license plate. He said, "You from Columbus?" I said, "Yeah, I'm from Columbus." He said, I used to live in Columbus too." I said, "Oh yeah?" He said, yeah, I used to run," and he named the company. I won't name the company, but it's a big, powerful company in Columbus. I said, "Well, how you end up on the farm?" He said, "Oh, that's a long story." I said, "Well, I got time because on my way home and He said, "Come on, sit down, grab a seat. You want some coffee?" He gave me some coffee, gave me some fruit. He said, "Listen, when I was younger, I was totally focused on my career. I destroyed 2 marriages. I neglected my children for my career. and I was consumed, and the job became, at that time, I thought, overwhelming, because I can't keep a family together. I'm making excellent money, but I'm not living life. And I said, I need to live life. So one day I took a break, and I just happened to come home, and somebody in the house left the TV on. And what came on the TV was a show called Green Acres. And he starts singing the song, Green Acres is the place for me. Farm living is the life for me. Land spread it out so far and wide. Keep my hands, give me the countryside. And I looked at it because this story was about a New York banker. I said, you know, I'm like, oh shit, I'm sitting here with a crazy man. He said, but listen, I saw that story, and I said, well, damn, that character, if he could do it, I could do it. Hell with this. I got enough money. Boom. So I went in my office, because it was real stressful and shit, and I was having problems in the office anyway. And I said, listen, I'm done. I took my severance package, and I came out here and I bought this farm. He said, I said, well, damn, wow, you know, how's it doing? He said, man, it's doing great now. But I ain't finished the story yet. I said, okay. He poured me some more coffee. He said, so, and I'm telling you this for a reason, because you told me you work in a prison, right? I said, yes, sir. He said, that's good. That's good. That's good work. So when I got out to a farm, I didn't know shit about the farm. I had the money to get the farm, and I wanted to learn it because I needed to keep busy. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, boom, I'm concerned about this money running out. I'm concerned about all this stuff. I'm concerned about whether I made this right decision. I'm concerned about my kids that I don't spend enough time with. So I need some real time to work and really get familiar with the land, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing. My first season, I couldn't even get nothing to grow. And I had animals, because I bought the farm as it was. They had animals and stuff. And the animals were shitting everywhere. And I was like, all this shit around here is starting to remind me of my job, you know? So I just started piling up the shit. And other farmers would come around and look at the pile and be like, hey, what you doing with that? He said, I don't know. Can I have it? I'll be like, sure. So they take it, and I'll be like, thank God I got that off my hands, and now, you know, but my crop's not growing, and, you know, I got to go pay all this money for more dirt, and I'm still trying to, and I can't get it right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, I have to get some help on this farm. Right? So one day, I get all this shit piled up. I said, I'm going to have to hire somebody. An old man just happened to come through, and he's like, yo, I see that you bought this farm. This is a great farm. The land is good. And he saw the pile of shit. He said, yo, man, what are you doing with that over there? He said, you talking about that pile of shit? I said, yes. He said, I don't know. He said, yeah, man, you don't know a lot. Look, I'm gonna help you out. So the old man took time with me and showed me how to use this stuff that I was calling shit. He showed me what it was. He taught me about it, right? And I was able to bring on help, but I stopped giving away what I thought was shit, right? And I said, okay, I hear you. I hear you. And he said, come with me. You're not getting the story. Come on. So I walked with him. I said, oh shit. I said, come on. So we started walking back towards the barns, and there's a big pile of what looked like dirt, and we're walking towards it. And I say, and my eyes start watering, and we getting closer, and he's smiling, looking at me. I said, this motherfucker, he crazy. He about to kill me. And I'm looking for escape routes just in case. Like, he look at me, he say, son, what is that? I said, sir, look like a pile of shit. He said, that's it. That's exactly how I looked at it until I got the wisdom of this elder man, and he told me that this was not shit. This was fertilizer. And son, what I'm trying to tell you is that if I had known what this little bit of wisdom from this lesson that this man taught me, it would have changed my business life. It would have changed my relationship life. And as it changed my farming life. I said, what you mean? He said, listen, you look at it and you see a pile of shit. I see fertilizer. That fertilizer brings life to these fields. What you see is shit. I'm able to take and use it to create life that promotes life to other people. That apple that you ate earlier came from fertilizer that came from what you call shit. If I would have been able to look at the business, the problems that I had in my business as fertilizer rather than more shit being piled up on me, I would have had a better business career. If I would have been able to look at what was going on in my relationship as rather than more shit looking as fertilizer, me and my first wife or even my second wife could have grown old together. But because I continued to focus on it and call it shit, I missed out on a big portion of my life. But I learned my lesson. And I'm telling you this because you're going to a place where people are put there and society looks at them as shit. And I need for you to understand, young man, that you need to learn how to be able to see fertilizer. See the power of stories? That's based on a true story. Base. But yo, I can't wait for y'all to come back tomorrow. So today we covered the storytelling process, right? And also, we have a framework available for you so that you can start learning how to break down these stories. Family, listen, it was a pleasure, and I can't wait to replicate with you tomorrow. Come back and see your family. Peace.
Family, this is Brother Hot Tim coming at you live and direct on Gye-Nyame Journey. The noise you hear in the background is the steamer because, you know, I do a lot of steaming. I talk about keeping the food culturally, keeping culturally appropriate. So, you know, I use.
All right. Peace, yo. This is Brother Hot Tim coming at you live. Well, it ain't really live, but it's recorded.
peace. It's about to get ugly, about to get gully. Full bottle of bubbly, headed for your scully. Hop in the cuddy or the 9-8, hand on mine, and I'm flying straight down the highway. Who wanna get peace? Who wanna rest in pieces? I knew what Pop was talking about when he spoke about telekinesis and recent troublesome pearls. Got me holding on to the grip of a fully loaded barrel. I let it sing like a squirrel. Witness my pleasure and my pain. Gye-Nyame house niggas going against the grain, trying to make some change, smoking Mary Jane just to release my tension. Crime life send niggas to another dimension. 46 nigga, get a grip, nigga, you get split. I guzzle the fifth with the heat on the buckle of my shit, nigga. A $1.50 you quit for those who wanna knuckle up with this, nigga. Watch me bubble up your lips, nigga.
Like one day you're here, then the next day you gone. If it's that you fear, then you must live wrong. It's like one day you're here, then the next day you're gone. If it's that you fear, then you must live wrong.
I'm dedicated to this crime life movement. Don't let the foul shit you think can get your frame broken into fragments. My street sweeper like a dragnet. I knock skin off your cheekbone. Don't get caught home alone. I can handle niggas on my own. Look, my advice to you is play your position. D's find you in a fucked up position. Man, why he gagging and shitting? Why he choking and pissing? I don't believe in impossible missions. All I need is a pistol, lighter fluid, and some G-Life henchmen who believe in that G.I. teaching. Got a team full of generals and pistols, we keep them. This is for the Black Hoodie Nation and critical thinkers. The bitches who ride with us, dog, they critical thinkers. We fresh in the game, but we the future's leaders. And you fuckers gon' know Jones, but believe in Jesus.
Dog, where you going? I'm seeing him creeping. I already told you that I'm leaving him sleeping. Best believe he's something grim, and you're seeing him reaping. You talk shit, so go to church the way your ass be preaching. It's a must when I bust your heart rate decreasing. I gotta straight keep the heat, cause it's hate is season. The eight's the reason you flee the scene so recent. Try to call police to see my ass in the precinct. I don't believe it's an MC on the street can see me. Pretty soon you gon' see me on both those channels on TV, live and direct in 3D. So many motherfuckers wanna be like Scotty, I'm a beanie. Put one into his beanie. Dude, you better G-Easy. You'll be found in the lake face down and not breathing. Gye-Nyame house, nigga, ain't no committing treason. After I'm done, nigga, you know your bitch, I'm skiing GNJ. No nigga can't defeat me.
It's like one day you're here,
One day you're here,
then the next day you gone.
the next day you gone.
If it's death you fear, then you must live wrong. It's like one day you're here,
It's like one day you're here,
then the next day you gone.
the next day you gone.
If it's death you fear,
Man, if it's death you fear,
then you must live wrong.
you a bitch. Why should I waste my time to buck you when I can snuff you and shatter your jaws with brass knuckles? I put this on my son. The house is a movement. This is the real world, and I'm happy you tuned in. Way before J-Lo, I was made in Manhattan, born a 80s kid. I can tell you about crack, man. These hating ass niggas. I got something for 'em. Pull up, that forehead yawning. I make songs for ladies, and I can get graphic by a black suit and jump your ass in a casket. Niggas get knocked, come home and swear they gangster. When on the inside, they soft as wet toilet paper. Every chick I meet, they fall in love quick. I don't know if it's personality or just the dick. Fuck a vest under the 2X, large T. Cause the only shots I'm taking is Henny at the bar, bitch.
It's like one day you're here,
It's like one day you're here,
the next day you gone.
the next day you gone.
If it's death you fear, then you must live wrong. It's like one day you're here,
It's like one day you're here,
then the next day you're gone.
the next day you gone.
If it's death you
If it's death you
fear,
fear,
then you must live wrong.
Nigga, you living wrong. Nigga, you living wrong.
Spoke to all them niggas, they said they ain't scared to die. I feel you, nigga, cause I ain't scared to kill you, nigga.
Nigga, you living wrong.
This is Brother Hot Tim coming at you live and direct on Gye-Nyame Journey. The noise you hear in the background is the steamer because, you know, I do a lot of steaming. I talk about keeping the food culturally, keeping culturally appropriate. So, you know, I use the steamer a lot. But one of the things I'm here to talk to you about today is Africanizing your coffee, making Gye-Nyame coffee, right? Now, I call it Gye-Nyame coffee. Why? Because I can. Coochie Jagalia, shit. Self-determination. I determined that this Africanized coffee is my coffee. And this is Gye-Nyame's coffee. What's mine is Gye-Nyame's. That's my family. That's my tribe. So I have to represent. So here you go, family, real quick. In order to make this, you're going to need you some ground coffee. I went and got some Allegro coffee from Whole Foods. This is light roast, but you get your coffee. You know what I'm saying? I would suggest not that instant shit. Go and grind your coffee. Or if you even got a grind at your house, you cool. You're going to need some baobab powder. Because that's in my article, right? That baobab powder. This is the brand that I use. You click the link, it'll take you right there. You're going to need some coconut oil. Like that. You see it? Straight from Africa. Alright? Just like the baobab powder. You know, we're going to get our link for that, and we'll be able to handle that. And, of course, you're going to need a French press. I'm going to show you how to use this French press in a second. All right? Because that's probably one of the questions that some of you have. Okay? So we're going to use this French press. I like using the French press because it gives me a better quality of coffee without all the machinery. And it's very simple to use, easy to use, and you get the most flavor. I mean, I get some flavorful coffee because I like my coffee thick and black, like myself. I have a water boiler here, you know what I'm saying, simple water boiler, and we are going to get started in the process. But there's one ingredient missing. Hold on. You can't have the Africanized coffee. You can't have the Gye-Nyame coffee without that ambrosia. Now, you don't necessarily have to have that ambrosia, but you can use this. Now, I'm using, this one is a little bit older, but I was thinking about using an older one because it has a stronger acidity, a stronger vinegar type cut. Not a lot